The UES Thunderchild cut through the darkness of space, its engines humming with quiet power. Captain Ju Park stood with perfect posture on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. The ship had been on routine patrol when sensors picked up the unknown vessel. "How long since they entered our space?" Ju asked, her voice calm despite the tension building in her chest. 23 minutes, Captain," replied Lieutenant Hejum Kim from the communication station. His fingers moved quickly over the console as he tried another frequency. Still no response to our hails. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency. Navigator Suman Lee maintained their intercept course, while Tactical Officer Min-hyuk Choi monitored the defensive systems. No one spoke unnecessarily. They had all served under Captain Park long enough to recognize the dangerous edge in her voice. "The vessel's design matches nothing in our database," reported Science Officer Yuna Kang. "Construction appears to use materials unknown to us. Energy readings are unusual." Ju nodded. "Keep trying to establish contact, Lieutenant Kim. And Min-hyuk, bring defense systems to ready status." "Yes, Captain," Min-hyuk responded, his hands moving across the tactical display. "Shields powering up. Weapon systems on standby." The alien ship continued its approach. It was unlike anything the crew had seen before. Sleek and predatory, with strange crystalline protrusions that caught the light of the distant sun. It moved with an unsettling grace that suggested advanced propulsion technology. "They're scanning us," Yunha announced. "Very thorough scans. They're going through all our systems." "Can you block them?" Ju asked. "Trying, but their technology is different." The tension on the bridge increased. Humanity had encountered other spacefaring species before, but these first contacts had been carefully arranged through automated beacons and translation systems. This direct approach, without warning or protocol, was unprecedented. "Captain, they're powering weapons," Min-hyuk reported suddenly. "Configuration unknown, but energy buildup suggests offensive capabilities." Juwoo's decision was immediate. Shields to maximum. Warning shot across their bow. A bright pulse of energy streaked from the Thunderchild, deliberately missing the alien vessel by a calculated margin, enough to demonstrate capability without showing aggression. The alien ship paused. Then, unexpectedly, the main view screen flickered to life. The bridge crew stared at the image now before them. A reptilian creature with silver scales that shimmered in the light of its ship stood in what appeared to be a command center. Most striking were its eyes. 3 pairs arranged vertically on its face, each glowing with an inner light that suggested both intelligence and disdain. "Primitive humans," the alien commander hissed, its voice translated through the ship's computers with a metallic undertone. "I am Supreme Commander Tekka of the Kravik Dominion. Your presence in this sector is noted. Your surrender is expected." Juwoo felt a cold anger rising, but kept her face neutral. "This is Captain Juwoo Park of the United Earth ship Thunderchild. You have entered sovereign human territory without authorization. Please state your intentions." The creature's upper pair of eyes blinked slowly, while its middle pair fixed on Juwoo with what seemed like amusement. The lower pair appeared to be scanning something off-screen. "Intentions: to educate you on your place in the galactic hierarchy. Of course." Tekka's mouth formed what might have been a smile, revealing rows of small, sharp teeth. "The Kravik Dominion has ruled this arm of the galaxy for 3,000 years. Your species' recent fumbling into space has been observed with interest." Juwoo felt the eyes of her crew on her. Humanity had reached the stars only 70 years ago. In cosmic terms, they were newcomers, but they had fought hard for their place among the stars. "We are aware of no such dominion," Juwoo replied evenly. "Our star charts and diplomatic contacts mention no Kravik claims to this region. Perhaps there has been a misunderstanding." "The misunderstanding is yours, Captain." Tekka's voice hardened. 17 species have made the same error. All now serve the Dominion. Your technology is quaint. Your defenses inadequate. We had hoped for more from the famed humans we have heard tales of." Engineer Do-hyun Ryu had quietly moved to stand beside Ju-woo. "Captain," he whispered, "their scan missed our new defense grid. They don't know about the quantum systems." Ju-woo gave the slightest nod of acknowledgement, then turned her attention back to the alien commander. "Supreme Commander Tekka, I suggest we discuss this situation diplomatically. There is no need for conflict." Tekka made a sharp sound that the translator interpreted as laughter. "Diplomacy is for equals, Captain Park. The Kravek do not negotiate with lesser species. We instruct. You will submit your vessel for boarding and inspection, or we will demonstrate our superiority through force." The gauntlet had been thrown. The first contact with the Kravek Dominion had gone very wrong indeed. Silence filled the briefing room as Captain Ju Park finished explaining the Kravek proposal. The ship's senior officers sat around the oval table, faces showing various stages of disbelief. "A challenge." Tactical Officer Min-hyuk Choi finally spoke, his voice rising slightly. "They want to fight us. For sport." Ju-woo nodded grimly. "That's exactly what they're proposing. A controlled battle to, in their words, demonstrate the natural order to humanity." She gestured to the holographic display showing the reptilian Commander Tekka's message. "This is insane," Medical Officer Jin-soo Kwan said, shaking his head. "We should be establishing diplomatic relations, not engaging in some kind of gladiatorial combat." Communications Officer Hejun Kim leaned forward. "The translation was very clear, Doctor. They see this as a ritual demonstration of power. From what I could gather, it's their standard approach to new species." "But why would we accept?" asked Navigator Suman Lee. "We could retreat, call for reinforcements from Earth Command. Their ship is faster than ours," Ju replied. "And they've already deployed some kind of dampening field. Our long-range communications are blocked." The reality of their situation settled over the room. The Thunderchild was alone, facing an advanced alien vessel with unknown capabilities. Science Officer Yuma Kang stood and approached the central display. With a few gestures, she brought up a detailed scan of the Kravek vessel. "I've analyzed what data we could gather," she said. "Their hull composition suggests vulnerability to our particle cannons." She highlighted several sections of the alien ship. "These areas in particular show resonance patterns that might be exploited." "But," Ju prompted, hearing the hesitation in Yuna's voice. "But their weapons systems outclass ours by approximately 30%, Yuna admitted. "And their shielding technology operates on principles we haven't seen before." Min-hyuk studied the readouts. "In a straight fight, we're at a significant disadvantage." "Then we avoid a straight fight," Engineer Do-hyun Ryu said quietly. All eyes turned to him. The usually reserved engineer rarely spoke during briefings unless directly addressed. "Go on," Ju encouraged. Do-hyun leaned forward, his eyes bright with calculation. "Captain, if we accept, I recommend the HFY asteroid field." He called up a map of the nearby sector, highlighting a dense field of asteroids approximately half a light hour away. "Our miners have worked those rocks for decades. We know every gravitational eddy, every rotation pattern." "And the Kravek don't," Min-hyuk realized, nodding slowly. "It could give us an edge." "More than an edge," Do-hyun continued. "The Thunderchild was designed with mining support in mind. Our maneuvering thrusters have precision the Kravek ship likely can't match." Ju studied the asteroid field display. "They might refuse. It's our territory." Their message emphasized the importance of us choosing the battlefield, Hajun pointed out. "It seems to be part of their ritual. They want us to feel we have some control." "Athena," Ju called out to the ship's eye. "Battle simulation using HFY field parameters." The holographic display shifted, showing two ship models, the Thunderchild and the Kravek vessel, maneuvering through the asteroid field. Various scenarios played out in rapid succession. "Simulation complete," the AI's calm voice announced. "Survival probability increases from 32% to 61% in the asteroid environment." "Still not great odds," Dr. Jinsu muttered. Better than we had, Ju replied. She stood up, decision made. We need to buy time for Earth to learn about the Kravek, regardless of the outcome. This challenge gives us that opportunity. There's something else, Do-hyun added hesitantly. The experimental quantum entangled missiles. They're not in the ship's official specs. The Kravek scans wouldn't have detected them. Those are untested, Suman cautioned. They worked in the lab, Do-hyun insisted, and the principle is sound. If they can bypass the Kravek shields. Ju considered all the information before her. The lives of her crew weighed heavily against the need to protect Earth from this new threat. The Kravek clearly had no interest in peaceful coexistence. Prepare all systems for combat, she ordered finally. Do-hyun, get those missiles ready. Yuna, I want every bit of data we have on their vulnerabilities. Min-hyuk, work on targeting solutions specifically for the asteroid field environment. The officers nodded, a new determination in their expressions. Ju tapped her console, opening a channel. The reptilian face of Commander Tekka appeared on the screen, all 6 eyes regarding her with cold interest. Commander Tekka, Ju spoke clearly, her voice revealing none of her inner concerns. We accept your challenge. The location will be the Haki asteroid field, coordinates to follow. Tekka's upper eyes blinked slowly. An interesting choice, Captain. The Kravek Dominion accepts. Prepare your ship and crew. You have 2 hours before the demonstration begins. As the transmission ended, Ju looked around at her officers. Let's show them what humans are made of. The time before battle passed quickly on the Thunderchild. In the main briefing room, Science Officer Yume Kang presented her findings to the gathered crew. Her usually calm face was tense as she displayed images of strange alien worlds. They've conquered 17 species, she reported, her voice steady despite the troubling information. Each conquest follows the same pattern: challenge, defeat, subjugation. They treat it like a game, Min-hyuk added, studying the data. The challenge is just a formality. They've never lost. Until today, Captain Ju stated firmly. The images shifted to show various alien species working under Kravek oversight. Some looked nearly humanoid. Others were wildly different. Crystalline beings, gas-filled organisms contained in mechanical suits, creatures that resembled Earth's insects, but at much larger scale. All these civilizations had their own technologies, their own cultures, Yume continued. Now they exist only to serve the Dominion. The Kravek strip-mined their worlds and used their people as labor. How did you get this information? Asked Dr. Jinsu. They sent it to us. Hejun answered from his communication station. They've been broadcasting these images continuously since Captain Park accepted their challenge. Psychological warfare, Ju observed. They want us afraid before we even begin. Throughout the ship, the crew worked frantically to prepare. In engineering, Do-hyun oversaw the final calibrations on their experimental quantum-entangled missiles. The weapons were revolutionary. Each missile was paired with a quantum twin. When one was destroyed, the other would instantly appear in the same space, bypassing shields and other defenses. Careful with the alignment, Do-hyun instructed his team as they loaded the missiles into the specialized launcher. 1 degree off, and the entanglement fails. Sir, these have never been tested in actual combat, a young engineer named Jae-hyun pointed out. Do-hyun nodded. That's why we're doing it now. The Kravek don't know these exist. They won't be prepared. On the bridge, Navigator Suman Lee plotted multiple escape vectors through the asteroid field. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls as she calculated gravitational forces and momentum transfers. Path A gives us coverage behind the larger asteroids, she explained to Min-hyuk. Path B offers more maneuverability, but less protection. We'll need both, Min-hyuk responded, programming the tactical systems to recognize the paths, and probably options C through Z as well. Meanwhile, in Medical Bay, Dr. Jinsu prepared for casualties. Extra trauma kits at all stations, he ordered his team, "and make sure the surgical unit is ready for emergency procedures." Throughout all this activity, the Kravek continued their psychological assault. The transmissions became more graphic, showing battles where Kravek warships destroyed entire fleets, worlds burning under orbital bombardment, alien leaders kneeling before Kravek commanders. "They're really trying to get in our heads," Hejum commented, trying to filter the images from the main communications channels. "Let them try," Ju replied. With 30 minutes remaining before the challenge began, Captain Ju called the entire crew to attention through the ship-wide system. Nearly 100 men and women paused in their preparations to listen. "By now, you've all seen what the Kravek want us to see," she began. "They want us to believe that defeat is inevitable, that they are superior in every way." She paused, looking at the faces on the bridge before continuing. "They're trying to break our resolve, but they don't understand humanity. We emerged from our cradle fighting. Against nature, against ourselves. We survived nuclear wars, climate collapse, and the long winter. We didn't come this far to bow to the first bully we meet among the stars." Around the ship, crew members nodded in agreement. "Every human carries the legacy of survivors," Ju continued. "Our ancestors faced extinction multiple times and refused to surrender. Today, we honor their memory. Whether we win or lose this battle, the Kravek will learn that humans don't submit easily." A cheer rose through the ship, echoing through the corridors. "To your stations," Ju ordered. "And remember, they may have conquered 17 species, but they've never faced humans before." As the Thunderchild moved into position at the edge of the Haki asteroid field, the crew felt a new determination. Fear remained, but it was overshadowed by resolve. The ship's systems were at peak readiness, the experimental weapons primed. Suddenly, sensors lit up with multiple contacts. "Captain," Minyuk called out, "sensors are detecting additional Kravek craft entering the field. 3 smaller vessels, likely combat support." "They're breaking the terms already," Minyuk observed, his voice tight with controlled anger. The main view screen showed the Kravek flagship approaching, flanked by 3 smaller but still formidable vessels. Their crystalline protrusions glinted in the light of the distant sun. Ju smiled thinly, no humor in her expression. "I expected nothing less." She settled into the captain's chair, fastening the safety harness. "All hands, battle stations. Suman, take us in. Path C Minyuk. Target the smallest support vessel first. Let's show them what happens when you underestimate humanity." The Thunderchild's engines flared to life as it accelerated into the asteroid field, ready to make history, one way or another. The battle began with blinding light as the Kravek flagship fired first. A beam of intense blue energy lanced across space, striking the Thunderchild before its evasive maneuvers could complete. The human warship shuddered violently, metal screaming as outer armor plates vaporized. "Direct hit to sections 4 through 7, called out Minyuk, his hands flying over the tactical console. Shields holding at 78%. Ju gripped her command chair as another blast rocked the ship. The 3 smaller Kravek vessels spread out, trying to flank the Thunderchild. Their attack pattern was precise, clearly practiced through countless prior victories. "Return fire, all forward batteries," Ju commanded. The Thunderchild's conventional weapons responded, sending bright pulses of energy toward the nearest Kravek ship. Most were absorbed by the aliens' shimmering shields, but a few struck true, causing minimal damage. "Their shield technology is adapting to our weapon signature," Yunha reported from the science station, effectiveness decreasing with each volley. Another devastating hit shook the ship. Lights flickered, and several consoles sparked. The smell of burned circuitry filled the bridge. "Shields at 42%, reported Minyuk, as another blast rocked the ship. A support beam crashed down from the ceiling, narrowly missing Navigator Suman. Ju opened the ship-wide channel. "Engineering. Status report. Multiple systems failures, Captain." Dohyun's voice came back, strained but steady. Coolant leak in Section 5. Primary power relays damage. Switching to backups now. In the medical bay, Dr. Jinsu Kwan worked frantically to stabilize the wounded. The first casualties had already arrived. Crew members with burns and impact injuries from damaged sections of the ship. More plasma now. He ordered his team as they fought to save a young engineer whose leg had been crushed when a power conduit exploded. Back on the bridge, Suman called out, "Captain, we can't maintain this exchange. Their combined firepower is overwhelming our defenses." Ju studied the tactical display, noting the positions of the Kravek vessels and the surrounding asteroids. A plan formed in her mind. "Execute maneuver Heta," Ju ordered. Suman immediately understood. Her hands danced across the navigation controls, and the Thunderchild abruptly changed course, diving toward a massive asteroid. The sudden shift caused the Kravek fire to miss temporarily. "All power to rear thrusters," Ju commanded. The Thunderchild accelerated, engines straining as it approached the asteroid at dangerous speed. The Kravek ships followed, clearly believing they had the human vessel cornered. "They're pursuing all 4 vessels," Minhyuk confirmed. "Distance closing." "Steady," Ju urged as the massive rock filled their view screen. "Steady." At the last possible moment, Suman fired the maneuvering thrusters at full power. The Thunderchild skimmed the asteroid's surface, using its gravity well to swing around in a tight arc. The maneuver was one that human mining ships had perfected over decades. The Kravek flagship, too large and unwieldy for such a sharp turn, had to veer away, breaking formation with its escorts. For a critical few seconds, it was isolated. "Now, Doyun," Ju ordered through the comm. "Fire quantum package." Doyun's voice echoed through the bridge. From concealed compartments along the Thunderchild's hull, 6 small missiles launched silently toward the Kravek flagship. They were unremarkable in appearance, which was precisely the point. The Kravek defenses reacted as expected, energy beams lashing out to intercept the incoming threats. 5 missiles exploded harmlessly in space. The Kravek crew likely felt satisfaction at their easy defense. Then physics bent. The quantum twins of the destroyed missiles, entangled at the subatomic level, instantly materialized in the exact same locations where their partners had been destroyed. Only now, they were already past the shields, directly adjacent to the Kravek hull. The explosion was spectacular. Brilliant white light bloomed against the darkness of space as the quantum weapons detonated in perfect synchronization. The Kravek flagship's shields flickered and failed, unable to stop damage that originated inside their perimeter. Great chunks of the alien vessel's crystalline structure broke away. Atmosphere vented from multiple breaches, forming brief, beautiful clouds that dissipated into vacuum. The Kravek flagship listed to one side, its sleek form now crippled and burning. "Direct hits," Minhyuk called out, unable to keep the excitement from his voice. "Their primary weapons array is offline, engine power dropping to critical levels." The escort vessels, seeing their flagship in distress, immediately moved to protect it, forming a defensive barrier between it and the Thunderchild. "They're regrouping," Suman reported, changing formation to shield their command ship. But the Thunderchild was already executing its next attack run, weaving through the asteroid field with precision that the larger Kravek vessels couldn't match. "Target the nearest escort," Ju ordered. "All conventional weapons, full spread." As the human warship dove toward its next target, Ju allowed herself a moment of grim satisfaction. "They never expected us to fight like this," she said, as damage reports from the main Kravek vessel continued to stream in. "They thought we were prey." The battle was far from over. The Thunderchild had taken significant damage, and 3 Kravek ships remained combat-capable. But for the first time in 17 conquests, the Kravek Dominion faced an opponent who refused to follow their script. Humanity had announced its presence among the stars, not with diplomacy, but with defiance. The airlock hissed open, Captain Juwu Park led the boarding party onto the crippled Kravek flagship. She wore a sealed combat suit with the Thunderchild's insignia on the shoulder. Behind her came Tactical Officer Min-hyuk Choi, Science Officer Yumha Kang, and 4 security personnel, all armed with pulse rifles. The interior of the alien vessel was strangely beautiful. Corridors made of crystalline materials glowed with soft internal light. The air was breathable, but had a sweet, unfamiliar scent that their suit filters partially blocked. "Stay alert," Juwu ordered. "We don't know how many survived." They moved forward cautiously, following Yunha's scanner readings toward the command center. Along the way, they encountered small groups of Kravek crew members. The aliens stood motionless, their 6 eyes watching the humans with a mixture of fear and disbelief. None offered resistance. "They can't process what's happening," Yumha whispered. "According to the data we gathered, the Kravek haven't lost a challenge in over 400 years. The command center doors were partially melted from the battle damage. Min-hyuk had to use a portable cutter to create an opening large enough for them to pass through." Inside, 7 Kravek officers stood at their stations. At the center, on an elevated platform, Supreme Commander Tekka waited. His silver scales were dulled with defeat, several cracked from the battle. Dark fluid leaked from a wound on his upper arm. "Captain Park," Tekka said, his translated voice lacking the arrogance it had held earlier. "You have violated all known patterns of conquest." "We didn't come to be conquered," Juwu replied simply. She gestured for the security team to secure the room. The Kravek officers offered no resistance as they were moved to one side of the command center. Tekka stepped down from his platform, approaching Juwu with a strange, formal gait. "How?" he demanded. "Your species is barely a century into space travel. Your technology is primitive. Your tactics should have been predictable." Juwu removed her helmet, meeting the alien's gaze directly. "We learned to fight before we learned to speak," she replied simply. "Conflict shaped us, but so did cooperation." Yunha had already begun accessing the Kravek computer systems. Her face grew increasingly concerned as she reviewed the data. "Captain," she called urgently, "you need to see this." The display showed a massive fleet of Kravek vessels, at least 50 ships, each larger than the flagship they now stood on. According to the timestamps, the fleet had departed from the Kravek home system 3 weeks ago. "This was merely a scouting force," Yunha explained. "Tekka was sent ahead to prepare our system for conquest. The main fleet is already on its way." Juwu turned to Tekka. "Is this true?" The Kravek commander's middle eyes blinked slowly. "The Dominion does not waste resources. Had you submitted, as all others have, your transition would have been managed. Now the full might of the Kravek will descend upon your worlds." "How much time do we have?" Min-hyuk asked. Yunha studied the data. "At their current speed, approximately 78 days until they reach our outer colonies." Juwu nodded, decision made. "Download everything. Technical specifications, tactical data, fleet movements, everything." As Yunha worked, Juwu addressed Tekka again. "Your ship is now under our control. You and your crew will be treated according to our protocols for prisoners of war, with dignity and proper care. In return, I expect your cooperation." Tekka seemed confused by this statement. "We have lost the challenge. By our traditions, we should be executed or enslaved." "That's not how humans operate," Juwu replied. "At least, not anymore." 6 hours later, the Thunderchild was underway, towing the captured Kravek vessel behind it. Emergency repairs had restored most critical systems, though the human warship still bore the scars of battle. On the bridge, Communications Officer Hajun sent the battle data and alien intelligence to Earth Command in a tightly encrypted transmission. "Message sent, Captain," he reported. "Earth Command acknowledges receipt. They're already mobilizing the fleet. Will it be enough?" asked Navigator Suman softly. No one answered. The data they had recovered painted a grim picture. The Kravek Dominion controlled hundreds of worlds, commanded thousands of ships, and had technologies that, in many areas, surpassed human understanding. As the shift ended, Ju stood alone at the viewport in her quarters, watching stars streak by. The damage to her ship had limited their speed, making the journey home longer than usual. She welcomed the extra time. Earth would need every day to prepare. A soft chime announced a visitor. Min-hyuk entered, carrying 2 cups of tea. "Thought you might need this," he said, offering one to Ju. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the stars together. "Do you think we're ready for what's coming, Captain?" asked Min-hyuk finally. Ju considered the question, taking the slow sip of tea. The weight of what they had learned, of what was coming, pressed heavily on her. "No," she answered honestly. "We're not ready. Not yet. But we will be. That's what humans do best. Adapt, overcome, survive." Behind them, visible through the viewport's rear angle, the captured Kravek vessel was being towed in the Thunderchild's wake, a trophy of mankind's first interstellar victory, and a warning of the greater challenges to come. On the alien ship, Supreme Commander Tekka watched his own stars pass by, contemplating the strange species that had done the impossible. For the first time in his long life, the future was uncertain. The Dominion had never faced an enemy like humanity before, a species that combined unexpected technological innovation with unpredictable tactics and strange principles about the treatment of defeated foes. Perhaps, he thought, the coming war would not follow the patterns of the past 17 conquests, and perhaps that might not be entirely unwelcome.